chocolate isn't the answer, could you repeat the question? Hello, I'm Pat Coakley, and welcome to PODSNACKS, Art of the Diet, the weekly podcast that each week tries to ask the right question about how to maintain a significant weight loss. You can access all the episodes on www.artofthediet.com. Hello, this is Pat Coakley, and it's Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019. And I'm going to begin with just one of my favorite quotes ever, and it's by Isaac Asimov. And veterans of this podcast and my blog on ArtoftheDiet.com will have heard it before. But it is this quote from Mr. Asimov, whose books, by the way, I have not read. It's not a genre that particularly appeals to me, but this quote is it is my favorite. And it is, people who think they know everything are a great annoyance to those of us who do. Well, that just suits me to a T. I don't know about you, but, I feel that on certain grounds of knowledge, I've got it. And those of the world that don't seem to agree with me, I feel sorry for, and I try to explain it away in my head why they're not coming to the same conclusion, but I know I'm right. So I perhaps should read a little more of Isaac Asimov, but I appreciate that he was able to so succinctly put my life's theme into one sentence. And it's particularly germane today because I'm actually going to do a summary of what I know about myself and maintaining a weight loss for 10 years or starting my 10th year. And at the same time, I have canceled any support groups that I've been a part of, Weight Watchers being probably the one you would know the most. And I think it's just one of those bends in the road that you take note of. And so I just thought I would share that. Also, my future plans for the podcast are a bit sketchy, but along the lines of I'm going to broadcast when I think I have something that I haven't said before or needs to be said again, at least to myself. And so more about that later, but let me go into what I know for sure about myself and why I don't think it's compatible. No, it's not compatible with the weight loss programs that I've been involved with, and most notably Weight Watchers. 10 years ago, that's the program that I chose to follow to lose the weight, and maintained a connection with them ever since in varying degrees of participation. I went to the meetings for 6 or 7 years every week. Then I started to find that I was getting less and less out of it, and felt that, well, maybe it was my age, although the average age in the group, at least that I was in, was, middle-aged to older. And yet my experience of maintaining a weight loss for 6 or 7 years was not syncing up with what I was hearing in the meeting. And I felt like a killjoy, really, if I were to speak the truth. So anyway, I just started taking accountability solely by myself and weighing in every Tuesday, which is my accountability device. That's been very helpful. No negotiation with that goes on. I do it regardless of whether I want to do it or not. So as I take a look out at starting my 10th year of maintaining it, what has really crystallized this information for me has been the previous 9 months, where I had a fracture in my back that required not total bed rest, but seriously, if I did 1,500 steps a day just around the house, that was an active day. It took 3 to 6 months. That's what they predicted for it to heal. And it was every bit of 6 months that it took. So 4 months, I was not able to do my usual 10 to 14 steps a day. I was usually walking in half-hour increments 3 times a day. And so on a routine basis, that was my exercise level. And it went down to, as I said, 1,500 steps. And that was not active walking steps. It was like hobbling steps, just really around the house and to the mailbox and to the store. And I'm not putting this out for the woe is me. What I'm putting it out as is that I could see that this was going to be a real challenge for maintaining my weight, because I was not going to be able to do this activity, and I was going to be restricted really to home and sources of food and cabinetry and whatnot. And I'm thinking, ooh, this is really going to be a challenge. Now, as it turned out, it was not a challenge. In fact, I lost 8 pounds over the course of the 6 months. And I thought, wow, why is this happening? And apart from, I think, an anxiety level that came with this particular health issue, which absolutely, I think, eased appetite control problems. When I reach a certain level of anxiety, my appetite goes. And I think that's quite common for some. And for others, it goes in the other direction. But for me, it just wasn't as big a problem. I ate less. I simply ate less. And it wasn't like I was, restricting what I ate. I ate what I did eat. I ate from all the food groups, and I just wasn't managing it actively. When you don't have an appetite, it's just simply not that big a problem, is it? Food management. Who knew? Anyway, so now the fracture is healed, and I'm on a new medicine, and off we go. And I'm slowly but surely getting back up to, 10,000 steps a day on a average basis. And what I notice is that I have to watch it. I'm back to having to manage the spikes on a Tuesday. And I think, isn't this interesting? I'm now doing the 10,000 steps a day. And is it that I'm eating that much more than I was before? And I think the answer is not really. And the experience I have really echoes the essential reason why a Weight Watcher program for me, as someone who's maintaining a weight loss for this amount of years, just doesn't address the issue. And it doesn't address the issue because, frankly, I don't think it's a marketing tool that would draw many members. And as you know, there are a lot of repeat members in national programs, and that's their business program. If people don't regain their weight, they're in trouble because that's the bulk of their business. And whatever marketing strategies they use, those are still their core customers. And my feeling is, and what I have to realize at 74, as an older woman, maybe the younger woman is different, but as an older woman, I know this. I have to eat less every year to maintain the weight. I could climb the Matterhorn and I still would have to eat less. The metabolism that I have, either because I'm an older woman, but I think more emphatically it's because I was a roller coaster weight person all my life, so I think my metabolism got screwed up in the process. So it doesn't necessarily think that being at goal weight or below it is a healthy situation. So it finds ways to do whatever the metabolism does. I guess it's slow down, so that you are constantly fighting against the regaining. And I certainly had a huge experience of it for 6 months, where food management was not an issue. I simply was eating less. And I was really doing next to nothing in terms of steps and exercise. And what I noticed was that I missed the exercise, obviously not because of the weight control, because I wasn't struggling with weight control and in fact losing weight. But I missed it psychologically. The health benefit to me of exercise was very clear to me in the past 6 months. It was a way of just clearing my head, sharpening my focus, just feeling physically much better. So I think it obviously has health benefits, but for me, I don't think it's to be factored in with the weight loss factor. Now, for years, it was equivocated that if you overindulged but you exercised a little bit more that day, you'd equal things out. I can remember meeting upon meeting at Weight Watchers about how people were managing their weight by the amount of exercise they were doing rather than their portion control. And I think they started to get away from that a couple of years ago. But it was a basic fundamental to the program that your exercise was a weight control factor. And my experience as an older woman was always that, well, I'm not sure that works for me. It may for a younger woman, but I don't think for an older woman. It has as much to do with weight control as it just simply exercise has to do with emotional balance and stability and a physical feeling of health and of resilience and vibrance. I think it has so many benefits. But oddly, I don't think weight loss is one of them, and it shouldn't be put out as that. Because when you get into a situation that I'm in age-wise and then health-wise, you think, okay, well, if I can't exercise, I'm really up the creek. And the fact of the matter is, you're not. But if you eat less, you have a greater shot at maintaining your weight than if you were doing 10,000 steps a day and eating the same amount. Because I know this for sure too, that if you are, if I ate what I ate 5 years ago, which was entirely within points and all of that old way of accounting, the weight would have crept back on. And that's what I just don't think is marketable. Saying, people, here's the fact, you have to eat less. It's not that you have to eat less sugar or less carbs, although frankly that helps me more than anything else. To take those things out of my diet in meaningful ways, and by meaningful ways I mean sugar is obviously in the sweet category, but you know that certain things metabolize as sugar, like popcorn and other things. You just have to limit those kind of carbs and go to the good ones and the fiber ones, and I find it easier to fight the old lady body, I call it. Now, and when I say old lady body, somebody will say, oh, you're not old. I want to go, yes, I am. Okay? Let's not debate that or tell me I look good or whatever. I'm an old lady and I've got that metabolism and I have to remember it. So that's what I know, that going forward, I'm of healthier bones right at the moment than I was 6 months ago. And I'm back to having to manage my weight. And yet I am more active than I have been in or been able to be for 6 or 7 months. And I feel psychologically a whole lot better. That is for sure. But I do know going forward that the key for me is accountability. And for example, like this past week, I weighed myself every day, not just Tuesday, because I was fully prepared to blame this on the new medication that I was beginning to, gain some weight again. And blaming it on the medication was absolutely numero uno on my list of excuses. And so I said, well, let me just weigh myself every day. And that always makes me much more conscious of what I eat. And even though I don't say I'm not going to eat this or I'm not going to eat that, just the knowledge that I'm going to weigh myself every morning makes me more aware during the day. And I noticed I was choosing less sugar stuff, less carbohydrate stuff, and I was eating more of the good carbs and fiber and guess what? I stopped eating. It's not the medication, damnation. Although, don't get me wrong, I'm glad, because there are meds that really do contribute to weight gain, and I guess I would have to face that challenge if presented it. But for right now, the same old suspect of accountability is visible. It's me and what I choose to put in my mouth and how frequently. It comes down to that. And I'm simply going to be eating less and walking 10,000 steps a day to achieve the kind of balance that I need to be healthy and feel myself to be healthy. So that's what I know. Like it or not, eating less is the way forward with every added year on me. And for those of you that have followed me on the Weight Watcher Connect, I no longer am going to be there, but I am considering starting a weekly written blog from my patcoakley.com site. The ArtoftheDiet.com, where this podcast is posted every month, will remain. And but as you know, I have other pots that are on the stove, and so the patcoakley.com is that website, and I'm considering rehauling it and focusing on a weekly written blog, which I used to do years ago too. So I'm in the process of molting and trying to become the lean mean machine. And so stay tuned for that. And I think for right now, think about it today as you go throughout your day. People who think they know everything are a great annoyance to those of us who do. And I just told you why I think I know everything about weight control. But that is for me. I do see that it really does apply to the old lady me. And whether it generates out to a younger woman's body or a male body, honest to God, I don't know. But I suspect that anyone who's had a lifelong weight issue and regaining and re-losing the same weight year after year has a metabolism that isn't working in your favor, and that has to be the focus of weight maintenance. And it's simply a depressing idea that your body really isn't working for you. However, once I realized it, it empowered me in a way to say, well, I have to deal with this. And so it made life a bit simpler and more effective because I'm 10 years out and still being able to manage it. And the last thing I want to say is that somewhere on the website, maybe right underneath the title of Art of the Diet, is creativity is the best health plan. You know what? That may actually be the patcoakley.com. Yeah. But whatever it is really true for me. And never more than the last 6 months have I realized it, because I wasn't able to do the active life and the interactive life that I was used to. And so it came down to creativity within the walls of my condo. And it was a lifesaver, and it provided reasons to be excited about the next day because I'd be able to try out a new project. Some of you know I took a sewing class. Oh my God. How do people do it? I was able to hobble to the sewing instructor right down the street once a week. And I also started dyeing things in my pot in the kitchen. Silk and cotton with leaves and flowers, and just started whole new ventures of creativity, and am now doing some book binding. Notebooks are my favorite, and so I'm starting to make my own notebooks and sewing the spine. It keeps me off the streets, but what it also does, and I so remember this from losing weight, that you get so obsessed with it that you feel like you're in prison. It's a prison. You're a prisoner of your obsession about, what you're eating, what you're not eating, what you want to eat, what you can't eat, how many steps you're doing, if you got this in. It's exhausting, obsessive thinking on any level, even if it's not weight maintenance. But the creativity act was absolutely like the sound of a key being put into a lock and unlocking a door so you could get out of prison. It simply is the most effective way of balancing for me the challenges that life gives you, that you have no choice about, and you're either going to be able to adapt to it or you're going to be a really unhappy camper. And we all have those kind of challenges, and some far worse than I have dealt with. But creativity in your ability to just find something that unlocks that obsessional thought door so you can get out and get some respite from it. That is the other thing I know for sure. That if you can find your way to investing more time in your own creativity, whatever that is, you are going to be better off for it. And P.S., I'm continuing to meditate. Oh my God. I just laugh thinking about it because it's so unlike me. But really, it is helpful. And I do it at least a half hour, maybe sometimes an hour a day, not all at the same time. Maybe a half hour here or 15 minutes there or 10 minutes there. And that's another thing that I know for sure has helped me in the last 6 months. So I share it just in case some of you may need a few new thoughts. And again, I will be posting or publishing new podcasts when I have something that I think is valuable to say. Whether that's going to be next month or next week, I don't know. But that, I think, is going to be my way forward with ArtoftheDiet.com. And with PatCoakley.com, I'm hoping to start a weekly written blog. And that would be about everything, not just weight maintenance. So I'm going to post on ArtoftheDiet.com when I upload this podcast. I'm going to post a tea towel that I made from my design. And some of you know that this expression I know is on ArtoftheDiet.com, that if chocolate isn't the answer, could you please repeat the question? I put it on a tea towel that is made from a polka dot fabric design that I made. Because, oh yes, I'm also into creating some fabrics. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what. I have ADHD of arts and crafts, okay? Every week it's something. And I made it. They sent me the fabric, and I was supposed to sew it, the sides, into a tea towel and just, hang it off my oven. But I decided to frame it because it just makes me laugh every day when I see it. Polka dots make me smile on their own, and this saying, which I created, I think, I've never heard it before other than when I said it, makes me laugh. So I'm going to post a photo of that hanging in my hallway, and you can order the fabric if you want it, if you want to sew it or you want to hang it up on your wall or in your kitchen. And I'll leave that link too. All right. I hope you're all doing well. It's April 3rd. Oh, Lord, we just won't go into the rest of life, will we? Okay. Over and out.